Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday and the weekend is finally here. I know a lot of you couldn't wait for today and it's finally here, so congratulations. We have a really interesting show for you today. A few things to talk about. On my nightly poor man flea market walks, it's always good around here. But I want to tell you a quick story to start off with. Yesterday I came home from my walk, and I usually wear shorts when I'm going for my walk, and then I change when I come home. So when I was taking off my shorts, I felt something on the back of my sock, and I thought it was one of those sticky seeds. You ever see those sticky seeds? The ones if you go walking through a field, they stick to you and stuff, because it was kind of... So I felt it on the back of my sock. I went to grab it, and the thing started moving. It was big. And what it was this guy. Now, I popped him off my sock. I put him in an old cup, and I put a little water in there in case he was thirsty before I let him go. But fascinating bug. Do you know what this bug is? Have you ever seen one of these before? We don't have too many of these in the city, but this is known as a grapevine beetle. And grapevine beetles, they're quite big. You know, you see here the size comparison compared to a ladybug. You know, it's a big bug, and it could be scary looking. I'm a big fan of insects. I have a nice insect collection, but of all different types, you know, and one of my favorite insects, of course, is the beetle. You know, the beetle is, it's so many different species of the beetle. Do you know 25% of the world's animal species are beetles? You know, there are more beetles species than any other animal species in the world. It's just there's so many different types. There's big ones, small ones, there's beautiful ones, iridescent ones. My buddy Stuart in Australia, I'm sure he's seen some of those beautiful iridescent green beetles and everything. They have so many different types. And one of my favorite, the rhinoceros beetle, I have a few examples, just absolutely beautiful. So when I saw this guy yesterday, I was a little bit shocked because I don't remember seeing him. You know, there aren't too many around here, but I sent him on his way with a drink of water, and I put him out in the back field where he won't be bothered. But just wondering, you ever get any of those by your house? Sometimes they call them, there's a different names for them in different areas, but they're basically known as the grapevine beetle. You ever see them before? Okay, so I went for my walk and I saw the normal stuff, you know, the stuff I usually see like this. I guess I always feel bad when I see kids' toys thrown out because, you know, people are making room and there's usually nothing wrong with them. This is a prime example. Look at this dollhouse. It's about size for the Barbies or whatever, but what's interesting is in that plastic bag there was all the dollhouse furniture that went along with this dollhouse. I said, boy, that'd be nice to give. I wish I knew some young girl I could have given this to. It would have been really a nice little gift that they could play with. One thing I found on my walk is I needed a chair to bring to Jacktown this weekend, and I said, oh, look at this. This one is in good shape, and it was made, guess where it's made? Korea. You don't see too many things made in Korea around here, but beautiful chair, heavy duty, and it's going to work out great for this weekend, so I'm going to be taking it with me. But then I went walking by that house. Remember that house last week or so? They threw away that school desk. A lot of you thought that school desk might have been a newer one because it didn't have an inkwell. It wasn't. This is an old desk, and not all school desks had inkwells, although some of the early ones did. This one was super old, and I could tell, because you could tell from the hardware. You can also tell by the jointing, and especially the smell. You know, it takes 50 years to get a certain smell on some wood. You know what I'm talking about. You know when you go into grandma's attic? Well, in my attic upstairs, there used to be a cabinet up there I took down a while ago. But there was a cabinet in the back, and it was an old wooden cabinet that was just probably thrown up there with excess lumber that when they built the house. But I remember as a kid, every time going up there, I'd open up that cabinet and it would have a smell of just age. I mean, it smelled like the thing was like 100 years old. You know what I'm talking about, that smell. I like that smell, actually. And so that desk was old. And this house is an old house that they're cleaning out. So when I went by that house, I saw this cast iron planter. And I said, wow, look at this. I said, and I picked it up, not broken, not chipped. I said, and it was heavy. And I said, you know what? I was going to hide it and get on the way back, but I said, I took it and carried it with me my whole walk. Check this out. Okay, I'm just back from my walk today for the poor man's flea market, and I found this right where the last time was the desk, the school desk. So they must be cleaning out an attic or something. Now I know you're looking at this going, what the heck is that? This is a cast iron planter. This is indeed cast iron. Now I don't know if this is new reproduction or if this is old, but everything coming out of that house is pretty old. Whatever the case may be, it's got some very interesting features on it. It's not light. I just weighed it at 8.26 pounds. You know, it's pretty heavy for the size and nothing broken. The casting is a solid casting, but it's rusted, as cast iron would be. What do you say we make this nice? You know? I mean, look at the intricate, look at all the fun we could have with that, right? The only thing is, first thing I got to do, because it's rusted, we're going to throw this into some vinegar. I have a 5-gallon bucket of vinegar, and that's going to take a couple days. So let's get started on this. Okay, 24 hours in the vinegar, scrubbed with a hand wire brush, and this is what we have. The rust is all gone here, in and out, scrubbed everything out. Now what we have to do, you can see here, before it flash rusts, we have to use a phosphoric acid or prep and etch. And that'll stop any additional rusting. It kind of seals it, but it's not going to look good. But you have to do that, especially on metal like this that rusts so easy. And you mix the acid, water, you brush it on, you rinse it off, and it will make a barrier. Let me show you what it looks like after the treatment. Okay, this is the part I always find is funny. This is treated with phosphoric acid. And they call it prep and etch. And what this does is, you can see it etches the metal and protects it against rusting. If you don't do this step, and the thing is going to be outside, I guarantee it will rust from the inside out. But this, now it's so funny because when you put this on, it looks worse than before. The first time I did, I was like, are you kidding me? It looks like it started to rust again. But that protects it. Now this will not rust anymore once you put a coat of paint. Now, when you paint this, you can do your primer. You can put straight paint on here now because it's already protected. And now you don't want to build up too many coats because you want to keep some of that detail. You know, the less paint on there, the better. But now you have to, you know, either do a couple light coats of the color, but you have to figure out what kind of colors. So you see, important step, prep and etch. Now, I decided to brush on a primer here that I have. And when I'm brushing it on, the reason I want to brush it on is because I wanted to get into all those intricate areas. And you could do it with a spray paint if you wanted to, but it really gets in deep when you brush it in. And there are little sand pit marks on any kind of casting, and this will fill that in without taking away the detail. You can brush it, you can go back and forth. It's kind of an enjoyable process. And of course, the primer does dry pretty quick, but just to make sure, I put it on top of my furnace under a box and let it cook for another day. Okay, so here's where the fun comes in. So now I say, let me do some research. Because, you know, as I'm digging into this, I'm saying, boy, let me research this. I like to look up stuff, and I find out that this thing is an antique French cast iron planter box, and they go for big money. Big money. Now I was like saying, holy cow, look at how much these things go for. Now, obviously, you know, here at the channel, we don't mess with any real antique. We just like to mess with, you know, things that are cheap or whatever. And one thing you don't never have to worry about is painting something, because paint can always be removed. So I always tell you guys, if ever you feel like painting a tool, by all means, go ahead. Any of you tool restorers know what I'm talking about. You love to find a painted tool because usually it's pristine underneath. It's a good protectant. But if ever you know, you're going to do something you want to, I'm not talking about woodwork now. I'm talking about anything that's metal. You throw some paint on it, a little paint remover will take it right off, you know, stripper will take it right back to the original. So you never have to worry about painting metal. The thing is that, and especially with this thing here, if I wanted to get it back to the original, I could strip the paint off. I could put it in the vinegar again and leave it outside for a week, and it'll look exactly like I found it, you know, all rusty and stuff. But let me show you what I did with it. Tell me what you think. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what this cast iron planter box looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. Now you can see where I went with this and the way I went. Now, I spoke to my girlfriend before I did this, knowing that she was going to get it. And I said, you know, what kind of colors do you want? And we both decided on, we wanted this kind of mint green. And this is actually a light blue background in here. The color rendering index of these lights will not show it exactly as it is. I'll show you an outside picture. More, this is what it looks like here. This is more what it looks like. That's, you know, outside in the sunlight. But anyway, you can see here what we did here. I did a little copper embellishments on the handles here. Same thing with over here, a little copper. This is orange, green, light blue, you know, a mint green. Did the inside. It's all protected now. And you can see what it looks like. So now, again, this is and you can make it any way you want. You could antique it by making it look old, whatever the case may be. Personally, I like you know, it to look like this. But now comes the question. And the question is, at what point does, now look, we know about patina. We've had the discussion before about patina on tools. But with something like this, every example I've seen of these, and especially the ones that go for big money, $700, $800, $900, they're all left in rusty condition. Now, is anybody going to put a rusty thing in their backyard, or do you think that they're buying it to restore? I mean, because everyone I see, and I'm sure when these came out, when they were made brand new, I believe they're white cast iron, whatever that is. I believe when they were made, they probably had a whitewash on them, you know, just like a something to protect it from rusting, like a whitewash or a black, you know, whatever it was. But why have the ornate in the molding, in the casting? Why have all that ornate detail if you're not going to color it? Do you know, anybody out there know anything about these? You know, I'm no expert on it. I just know that they are highly collectible. And the only one I saw that's exactly like this on eBay was cracked. And it was listed at $167. And that one has already 10 watchers. 10 people watch. So you know these things are collectible. I'd like a discussion. Let's have a discussion and let me know what you think. Would you have painted? Would you have not? What would you have done? And again, would you have not painted it because of the value? You know, does that stop you from doing what you want to do with it? Or, you know, when you find something, you say, I got to leave it the way it is because I'll ruin the value. You know, let me know in the comments what you think. I'd like to get that discussion started. Okay, so in closing, they're calling for heavy thunder showers today, the day that I'm hopefully going to Jacktown. But, you know, they've been wrong before. Hopefully they'll hold off. But if you're going to go and you've never been there before, Saturday's the day to go. It looks like a layoff the rain. And thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye.